Hello everyone, this is Crustalmania and welcome back to another video. This video we're going to be looking at the ninth card that I got from TCG Player. A little bit of short context, I saw initially a vintage lot on eBay and I thought that the pricing of the conditioning of the cards was a bit high, so I decided to look at TCG Player, found the same cards on TCG Player but in a different, even same conditioning but at a lower price, so decided to buy off TCG Player. One, to see if the price really did matter for like the conditioning of the cards and how the cards were going to be packaged and such as that. You've probably heard me say this in the last 7 videos, so I won't really go too much into it, but basically this is the card that came in the envelope. Now, as I mentioned in the previous videos, I believe 7 out of 8 have all had packing slips, and for the most part, most of the conditionings for most of the cards have surprised me in being better than heavily played than I imagined. Some of them kind of fit the mold of heavily played, which made sense. Only one card I thought should have been maybe a tier down in terms of conditioning, but I could see how it plays as the heavily played conditioning. Other than the Hitmonchan, that was pretty much in the realm of damage. So overall, the experience so far with TCG Player has been actually pretty good. I bought from all different sellers. I didn't buy from just one seller. So we're seeing how all different sellers, or 10 different sellers basically, package their cards, ship their cards out. And as you've seen, a varying difference between all of them. So I believe this is card number 9. So we are almost at the last, or the end of the whole kind of 10 cards that I purchased. So this is the envelope that arrived, another plain white envelope, and luckily this one looked pretty easy to open. So it was easy to kind of open it on the side here, rip the plain white envelope open, which is good. And again, another packing slip. So this one I realized I think it was taped, so I wanted to open that and get that detached off camera just because it's a little bit easier for me to do. And here it is, another card in a team bag. So I was pretty cool. I'm pretty happy to see that. Another team bag, really good there in terms of packaging of the cards, kind of like how I do. So in this case, I believe this card may have benefited from the team bag because I think it may have slid up a little bit. No, never mind. It did not, I don't believe. It was still in the penny sleeve, so there was no need to use tape. But anyways, here's the Vaporeon from Jungle that's in heavily played condition. Now, this Vaporeon card, I don't think I ever had. I believe the Flareon I may have had from Jungle, or the Jolteon, I can't remember. The Jolteon I don't think is in English from what I remember, but the Vaporeon is a first for me. Never really had this card growing up, and to be quite honest, it's a pretty cool card. I have to admit, out of all the 3 dogs in terms of like Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon from the set in heavily played condition, Vaporeon seemed to be the least expensive out of the other 2. So I guess Flareon and Jolteon are the more desirable ones, which was surprising to me because I thought Vaporeon would be more desirable, but maybe that's just my opinion. But anyways, this is the Vaporeon Holo Rare from Jungle. Really cool card. Again, this one's in heavily played condition, but for the most part, it's pretty clean. I mean, there is some obvious whitening, some scratches on the back, some scratches on the holo foil on the front, but for the most part, it's pretty clean. You could definitely get away with this in a binder, and it would look just fine, in my opinion. Other than maybe the black dot on the bottom on the yellow border, but for the most part, like this card's pretty good. I mean, if you just want this card, the art, you could definitely get this card in a lower condition, and the conditioning might surprise you. So that is what's pretty cool there. And the artwork in itself is pretty interesting, as I don't know if they have Vaporeon kind of in that pose anymore, because most of the time I feel like it's swimming in some of the illustration rares or newer illustration rares for Vaporeon. So this one's just more simple and just kind of nice to have kind of the more simplistic view of the card in terms of the art and just the yellow borders. So overall, really nice card. It was packaged pretty well. I'm really glad that this seller used a team bag. I think this is the second seller to use a team bag from TCG Player. A lot of them just either use Scotch tape or painter's tape, which is fine too. Scotch tape is probably the hardest to undo as a buyer, but as a seller, I can see how that could be more cost efficient just because you can just literally put that on there. My worry is with the tape on there is that it might get stuck, but they did use bigger pieces of tape than some of the eBay sellers that I've seen in the past for sure. So definitely interesting how the shipping standard is on TCG Player compared to eBay for some of these cards. But long story short, this is the Vaporeon from Jungle. Such a nice card. Looking at it from this view and bringing it closer, look at like the hollow foiling pattern like on there. But the backing is like the old school backing, but just really nice. There are a couple black dots, I guess, on there on the back. But for the most part, the back is like pretty clean. And then we'll look at the hollow foiling pattern. That is really cool. I guess they made the background yellow to contrast the light blue color that Vaporeon is, which I thought was an interesting touch, I guess, since the whole card color is blue. So very interesting touch there. Really cool card, actually. So really glad to have it and actually see it in person, as I had not seen it in person before. So definitely a really cool card there with really cool hollow foil patterns there with a lot of sparkling, I guess you'd say. Is that considered sparkling hollow foils? But yeah, you really get in close there. But overall, the card was in really great condition. And so far, the conditioning for the cards has exceeded my expectations on TCG Player. There's one more card, so we'll see if it kind of lives up to what it is. But so far, TCG Player has surprised me. But I'll probably give a little bit more of a review in the very last video of the very last card coming in. So anyways, hope you guys like this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, everyone. Peace.